the Chaplin cocktail. A great cocktail using a great Kentucky bourbon and a slightly obscure ingredient. Welcome to the Cocktail Spirit from Small Screen Network. I'm your host, Robert Hess. Now today's cocktail is going to be the Chaplin cocktail. Now normally I try to do cocktails that are using somewhat standard ingredients you can use. In this one we're actually going to be using an ingredient that's a little bit hard to find. As a matter of fact, I don't think we're currently selling this product in Washington State at the moment. If you can find this, you can make this cocktail. If you can't find this ingredient, Ramazzotti, you can't make this cocktail. There's really no replacement for it. But for those of you who get it, this would be a good cocktail to try. And I'd also like to comment that this cocktail does happen to be in the book I recently put out called The Essential Bartender's Guide, which a lot of the cocktails you've been seeing on this season's episodes are also in that book as well. So let's get started. We're going to start out using a fine Kentucky bourbon, Jim Beam Black, for this cocktail, to add some good flavors to it. We're going to add 3/4 of an ounce of Jim Beam Black. And as I've mentioned in the past, if anybody from OXO happens to be watching this episode, if you could please put a 3/4 ounce mark on these measures, that would help an awful lot. But it's like that's what goes on sometimes. Then we're going to take and add a 3/4 of an ounce as well of dry sherry. Three-quarter of an ounce of Ramazzotti. I'm going to pour this in first. Then an 1/8 of an ounce of Cointreaudash. Now, an 1/8 of an ounce is a fairly small amount. All I've got is a 1/4 ounce mark on here, so just kind of pour it in. If you wanted to free pour this, you're basically almost pouring as small an amount as you could possibly pour in. But I like to measure just to make sure I'm getting the ingredients brought in properly. And then we close off with a dash of Angostura orange bitters. Now we've been using orange bitters on the show quite a bit. Orange bitters are really good for a lot of cocktails. And Angostura just recently came out with an orange bitters. It's gradually making its way across the nation. Matter of fact, we just got through getting it our first shipment here in Seattle. If you're in New York, you're probably getting it already. If in your area you can't quite find Angostura orange bitters yet, just wait a while and hopefully you'll see it in any store you're currently getting the regular orange bitters in. Then add our ice to our stir. And then stir well to chill. Again, as I always say, since this drink has all clear ingredients, there's no juices, no milks, no eggs, stuff like that, you want to stir the drink so it pours out as crystal clear as possible. Then we're going to take and strain this into a cocktail glass. Regular viewers of the show will note that I'm always trying to use some nice and interesting cocktail glasses. Here's a really interesting cocktail glass. It's got a shape that's different than the standard V-shaped glass. I'm always keeping my eyes out for this sort of stuff. Amazingly enough, this glass only cost me $1.50. It's a molded glass, which means it's going to be thicker, so it's going to stand up to standard heavyweight in use and stuff like that. So if you keep your eyes out for stuff like that, you can find some really good prices on some great glassware. Yes. Strain that in, and then we're going to take and add a twist of lemon peel. I like adding a little spring to the peel. So I quickly wrap it around a little stir rod I've got here. Twisting to tighten up. Pull it off. Still curd up. You kind of pull it across like that, getting the twist kind of nice and tighten up on you. And then when you lay it in the glass, it can take and spring out. And there we have a Chaplin cocktail.